Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Devin, and on this channel we talk about all things plants. And in today's video we are going to be talking about 5 common houseplants. In times of COVID, being at home and having all this time on our hands, we have all kind of become our own version of crazy plant people. So there is this notion that to be a great houseplant collector per se, you need to have all these exotic plants and all these fancy hard to keep plants, but I think common plants are one of the best plants to have in your house, and my house is filled with them. And just because they're common and basic doesn't mean that they aren't beautiful and that they can't bring you joy, as Marie Kondo would say. So I'm going to share my top 5 favorite common plants, and a lot of these range from most of these are pretty easy care, and you can find them about anywhere at a really good prices. So the first one I'm actually going to talk about is the pothos. So my house is filled with pothos, and when I first started collecting plants I wasn't that into pothos because, again, I was thinking, oh, common plant, not that cool. But then I started to really look at them deeper and realize there's so many different varieties of them, and they're so easy to care for. So I have, I don't know how many in my house, but they're beautiful because you can trail them down and they make like a really pretty accent to anything, and they can grow in every lighting situation in your house. So if you're worried that you don't have enough light, a pothos is great. And they come in, I don't know, like 7 or 8 different varieties, and you can find them so easily at really good prices. And the care for them is really easy, and they're a type of plant that will actually talk to you. And what I mean by that is that you can tell when they need to be watered. So I can usually tell when the leaves start to kind of droop a little bit or they look less perky. That means that you need to water it, and they're really forgiving. So if it looks extra droopy and you're like, I've killed my plant, that's not true. Just give it some water and give it a day and it'll perk back up. As you can see, they come in the neon color that I have behind me, and I also have a jade pothos and also the famous golden pothos, marble queen pothos, and the list goes on and on. So like I said, I have them all throughout my house, and they're great houseplants and slowly becoming my #1 favorite. All right, my next favorite houseplant is the ZZ plant, and this is a great plant for beginners as well because they are so forgiving. They literally need barely any water, and they can tolerate any light situation, from low light to bright light as well. Just don't put them in direct sunlight because it will burn the leaves. And again, low light does not mean 0 light. It does need a little bit of light, but they can, in low light they basically survive, and in higher, brighter light they will thrive and grow bigger. And again, you can find these in a lot of big box stores. I actually found this one in IKEA for a relatively good price, because I know in a few times that I found them at this size, they can be a little bit more expensive of a plant, but they also come in a lot of different sizes. And I also have a ZZ Raven, which was harder to find, and now I've actually found it in my local Home Depot, so they're becoming more popular as well. And they're a really great hardy plant because you can just set it and forget it basically. And you know, I water mine probably at least once a month. They have really thick stems, and their roots are like a big ball, so they hold a lot of moisture. So if you want a plant that you don't have to really think about it often, choose a ZZ. And they're just really pretty. They have like really green waxy leaves, and for some reason I always think they're kind of prehistoric looking. So ZZ plant, a common house plant that I think everybody should have. Okay, so for my 3rd common house plant, I actually have the SCINDAPSUS PICTUS, which also people call it the satin pothos. Not really sure the proper, you choose what you want to call it. I call it the SCINDAPSUS PICTUS, and I recently got this variety of plant this year. They were a little bit harder to find in the last couple years, but I think they're becoming more and more common, like we're saying, or basic. So your local nurseries and some box stores are starting to carry them, but they're just like the pothos. They're very easy to care for. They will talk to you when they need watering. Like, they have a little bit thicker leaves than the regular pothos variety, and their leaves will actually start to curl up a little bit when they're thirsty. And in my experience, they do require a little bit more light than a regular pothos does, but if you have a medium to low light, it still will do pretty well. And they're pretty fast growers, and they have a beautiful foliage of little silvery on them as well. And I also have this SCINDAPSUS exotica, which it has bigger leaves and has more silver to them, which is also another easy plant, just probably a little bit harder to find. So a beautiful common plant, this SCINDAPSUS PICTUS. Yeah, and I just have it trailing on my mantle. And yes, highly recommend it. For my fourth common houseplant, I definitely love the snake plant. So I didn't have a lot of snake plants when I first started my collection. I think I had one. But yeah, I think I finally counted them one day, and I have so many of them. It's because they come in such cool varieties. So this is actually the moonshine version, but they come in so many different sizes, between like small and really tall, and lighter green, darker green, kind of whatever you want. And similar to the ZZ plant, they're super easy to take care of. They're another plant that you can neglect and kind of thrive on neglect. I water mine probably about once a month, or if I remember. Pretty much when I water my ZZ plant is the same time that I water my snake plants. And I have them in a variety of lighting situations. Like, most of them are kind of in my lower light spots, but I also have one that's in a almost not direct light, but it gets pretty bright light throughout the day. And like any plant, the more light you give it, most times the faster and bigger that it'll grow. But these will also grow slower. Well, they're slow growers to begin with, but they will grow faster and brighter light, but they will also just survive in lower light as well. So if you tend to have a corner that needs something taller with some greenery in it, I highly suggest snake plant. And I also have this one's sitting on my bedside table. So yeah, because it doesn't get as much light as some other places in my house. So again, you can find them in any box store. They're a huge variety of them, and they're more of like a succulent type leaf that holds more water, so that's why they don't really need a lot of water. So for a common plant, they're really cool. I like them a lot, and I've slowly grown to really appreciate them as a genus. So yeah, snake plant. Okay, for my fifth common plant that I love is my Brazil philodendron. So this is another vining plant, and I find that you can find them anywhere, like I've said, in box stores and also on nurseries and stuff like that. And this does come in different varieties. There is the regular heartleaf philodendron, the Brazil, and like I think the Brazil micans. But this is the most common that you'll find in your box stores or plant nurseries and stuff like that. Beautiful house plants. You can find them anywhere, and they're one of my favorite. Between them and the pothos, they are one of my favorite. And this guy, they kind of trail like a funky way, but I don't know, I kind of like it. It adds a little bit of variety to your collection, and I mean, they have gorgeous variegation in the leaves, and each one is so different. Like this one's almost completely green except for that. Some of the newer ones are coming in almost completely yellow. So don't overlook philodendron Brazils. Just because the name philodendron sounds scary, philodendrons in general are pretty easy houseplant, and again, pretty common that you can find, especially the Brazil variety of them. And they are good in any light situation. So I have mine in a west facing window. I have also one in a closer south facing. They also do good in lower light. And again, the brighter the light, the faster they'll grow. But And they're also super easy, just like the pothos, to propagate. So this was actually an original propagation from a couple years ago that has just grown a lot. So yeah, Philodendron Brazil. Jump on the hype train. Alright guys, those are my top 5 basic common houseplants, and I want all of you guys to appreciate your common houseplants and let me know in the comments below what are your favorite common houseplants. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you're subscribed to this channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any upload that we post. And if you want to follow me over on Instagram, I will put my handle up on the screen and in the information box below. And I hope you guys have a fabulous day and appreciate the basic things in life. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.